what happens when we try to solve an equation in which an absolute value appears? And again, we're interested in absolute value equations in their own right, but we're also interested in the absolute value as a simple example of a really common pattern. The absolute value function fails the horizontal line test, right? Lots of horizontal lines cross this graph more than once. If I draw this horizontal line, it crosses the graph twice, for example. So since this fails the horizontal line test, this function is not one-to-one. In general, in fact, we might informally say it's 2-to-1. In general, each y value comes from two values of x. And so when we go to solve equations involving the absolute value, we're saying the absolute value is some specific number. Well, when we say the absolute value of x is 4, we're thinking x is one of the numbers with absolute value 4. What are those numbers? Well, 4 has absolute value 4, and also the opposite of 4 has absolute value 4. If we want to say absolute value of x is 3, we're thinking x is one of the numbers with absolute value 3. And again, there are two numbers like that. Positive 3 has absolute value 3. Negative 3 also has absolute value 3. When we say absolute value of x is 0, well, x is one of the numbers with absolute value 0. Oh, but there's only one number like that. The only number with absolute value 0 is, of course, just 0. And then if we say the absolute value of x is negative 4, well, we have a problem, right? Because the absolute value is never negative. So if I say, find me a number whose absolute value is negative 4, you can't do it. And so this equation has no solution. And we write the words no solution to say that there's no solution. So there are a couple of funny things that are happening here. One, we have a function that's not one-to-one. And that means that in kind of the generic sort of absolute value equation, we have two solutions. We also have a function whose range is not all real numbers. Our function's range misses some of the numbers, and so sometimes we'll have an equation that has no solution. Right? So sometimes we'll have two solutions. Very rarely we'll have exactly one solution, and sometimes we'll have no solution when we solve an absolute value equation.